and gentlemen, welcome to yet another marvelous video, where today we will unravel the powers of Shin Ultraman and take a look at some of the adventures of this iconic character. The 2022 Japanese Tokusatsu Kaiju film Shin Ultraman was directed by Shinji Higuchi, along with the legendary Toho Studios spearheading the project. The third entry in Anno's Shin anthology series, the film was also loosely based on the 1966 television series Ultraman. In today's video, we will be taking a look at the origins of this powerful entity, the powers he possesses, and his adventures along with the enemies that he faces. What future does Shin Ultraman face? So get ready, folks, this is gonna be one heck of a ride. Welcome to Marvelous Videos Shin Ultraman Explored. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Origins unveiled. As part of the 55th anniversary of the franchise, the Shin Ultraman movie was set to be released in the early summer 2021, but got pushed back due to COVID-19 issues. The movie was then released in 2022, and was one of the works featured in the Shin Japan Heroes Universe collaborative project. So what was the origin of this specific Ultraman? Let's take a look at the birth of this powerful character. The moniker Ultraman is a combination of Ultra, a top classified code word devised by Asami's former agency, and Man, which refers to his humanistic form. His actual name, Lepia, is derived from Lipia, a flowering plant species named after Augustus Lippi, a French biologist and botanist. Lepia stands for honesty, understanding, and bond in the flower language Hanakotoba. Lepia was appointed by the Planet of Light to protect planet Earth after a number of old biological weapons known as S-class species, or Kaiju, arose in Japan. When Lepia initially crashed, the impact caused pebbles to strike and kill Shinji Kaminaga, a human who had sacrificed himself to defend a boy who had not yet been evacuated. Lepia was intrigued by Kaminaga's choice to sacrifice his own life to save another. So even though Lepia knew that fusing with a human was against the code of the Planet of Light, he chose to adopt Kaminaga's form, memories, and identity in order to learn more about humans, placing the actual Kaminaga's body intact where he passed away in the forest. He went to work at the SSSP under the guise of Kaminaga, but his personality had significantly changed, and he now read a variety of books to broaden his knowledge of people. Hiroko Asami, a new addition to the SSSP dispatched by the Public Security Intelligence Agency, was appointed as his partner, but the two failed to get along right away. The dazzling silver behemoth is provisionally called Ultraman for human use. The saga of Shin Ultraman, a new era of heroism. So what's the story of the new entry among heroes, the Shin Ultraman? Well, in recent years, the appearance of massive threatening beings called Kaiju has grown more regular in Japan. The Kaiju Gomez, Mammoth Flower, Paguila, Larugius, Kaigel, and Pagas all launched attacks on Japan, wreaking havoc until their defeat by the JSDF. To address the danger brought about by Kaiju, legally recognized as S-class species, the government of Japan enacted the S-class species suppression protocol and established the SSSP, a special unit created to assist the JSDF's operations. The SSSP is commanded by Kimio Tamura and consists of Shinji Kaminaga in charge of strategy, biologist Yumi Funaberi, and physicist Akihisa Taki. The SSSP tries to investigate and identify potential defenses when an unknown kaiju starts tearing across the country. The being known as Noranga first becomes visible when it consumes electrical current at a power substation. The JSDF's soldiers start attacking Noranga, but the beast destroys their weapons. When Kaminaga sees a single child on a television stream who is not evacuated, he dashes into battle to save them. During his attempt, an unidentifiable object emerges from the atmosphere and crashes nearby. A human-like silver behemoth emerges from the crash site, attracting the attention of the kaiju. Noranga launches an electrical beam, which the monster harmlessly blocks. Once more hiding behind its cloak, Noranga starts to crawl backwards up a hill, but the enormous being folds its arms and shoots a powerful ray of energy at the kaiju, causing it to burst apart almost instantaneously. The SSSP members are astounded by the giant's unexpected appearance and skills, and they observe as it soars away into the sky. Tamura instructs the JSDF not to lose track of the behemoth, but every tracking device already did so instantly. Following the battle, an unhurt Kaminaga delivers the kid to safety. Hiroko Asami, a government analyst, is sent to the SSSP to look into the silver monster, which she refers to as Ultraman in the early report. She works together with Kaminaga, who browses through books most of the time. An underground kaiju is discovered tunneling towards a nuclear waste storage site, and the SSSP is sent to deal with the threat. The SSSP finds that the underground kaiju, Gabora, is identical to Pagus and plans to feed on nuclear material. SSSP members wear protective suits to go closer, but Kaminaga escapes. Kaminaga takes out a gadget while sprinting through the forest, and when he activates it, he changes into Ultraman. The SSSP sees Ultraman emerge from the ground and notices that the once silver markings on his torso have become crimson. Ultraman is in front of the nuclear facility as Gabora bursts above ground and comes hurtling at him. Understanding that using his beam to take out the nuclear-powered Gabora could set off an explosion and cause fallout to spread throughout the region, Ultraman instead attempts to stop Gabora's rotating drill-covered head from breaching the building. Finally, Ultraman can raise and toss Gabora away. In a fit of rage, Gabora releases the drill around its skull, and the SSSP observes that it shares a significant structural resemblance with both Pagus and Noranga. Ultraman, moving slowly towards his opponent, gets hit by an energy beam fired by it, but he survives the explosion. Gabora is swiftly downed when Ultraman closes the distance and delivers a punch to her face. Ultraman raises Gabora's body, glances behind at the SSSP, and takes off. Asami and the other SSSP members are now certain that Ultraman knows of them and is constantly attempting to defend humanity. Their servers are unexpectedly erased one night when their headquarters loses power. In the SSSP office, a strange being with a cloak and cap appears as Funaberi regrets the total loss of all their data. The entity presents himself as Extraterrestrial Number 2, or Zarab. He apologizes for wiping out the SSSP server, claiming it was an unforeseen effect of materializing in the building, and immediately restores power and all data. Zarab wants to meet with Japan's Prime Minister to negotiate a treaty, which is approved in secret. Zarab exposes a lot about Ultraman's characteristics, such as his body and his attacks of energy that were made out of the element Spacium-133. To get information on Zarab's whereabouts, Kaminaga meets in private in his car with a colleague. He discovers that Zarab spent time having covert talks with government leaders outside of Japan, forging treaties that greatly benefit him. After the other person departs, Zarab emerges in the car close to Kaminaga. When he questions Zarab about his real goals, the alien replies that he is setting people against one another in order for them to annihilate one another and take over Earth. Zarab replies that he will just need to arrest Kaminaga, use his abilities to render him unconscious, then become invisible and take him away. But Kaminaga promises he will stop him. Ultraman unexpectedly launches an attack on Yokosuka Naval Base that evening, evading anti-ship missile defense. The SSSP believes that things are not as they seem, despite the fact that a large portion of the government is ready to label Ultraman its enemy. In addition, Kaminaga has disappeared without a trace, and films of him turning into Ultraman have surfaced online. Zarab encourages the Japanese government to wipe out Ultraman, while Kaminaga is detained in a Tokyo skyscraper. Inquiring about the location of the beta capsule that allows Kaminaga to change into Ultraman, Zarab is satisfied that Kaminaga does not possess it. Asami finds the beta capsule in an envelope from Kaminaga that was addressed to her at the SSSP headquarters. When Ultraman returns to Tokyo and begins wreaking havoc, Kaminaga's associate provides Asami with a technique to track him down. She discovers Kaminaga chained to a chair in the building where Zarab is confining him, and frees him before handing him the beta capsule. At that point, the imitation Ultraman dashes through the building, grabbing Asami in his grip. Kaminaga ignites the beta capsule and changes into Ultraman, rescuing Asami and securely placing her down. Ultraman battles his fake until it loses its mask and reveals itself as Zarab, who attempts to flee. But Ultraman chases him. Following a quick fight, Ultraman manifests an energy disc and slices Zarab in half. Asami and Kaminaga have vanished after Ultraman's true identity has been revealed. However, Asami comes to Tokyo unexpectedly, having grown to monstrous proportions and appearing to be in a trance. Despite the objections of her ally, the JSDF is about to launch an attack on her when a mysterious voice informs them that it is only a demo. All of a sudden, the enormous Asami passes out and collapses onto the ground, and she is held captive. The JSDF is unable to obtain any samples of her clothing or tissue because she appears immune to any damage, and tests reveal she is made up of an unnamed energy. A man wearing a suit approaches the SSSP and respectfully announces that he is extraterrestrial number 0, known as Mefilas. He claims to have landed on Earth earlier than Ultraman and was the previous voice. Mefilas utilizes a massive contraption known as the Beta Box to shrink Asami back to her actual size in order to prove his identity. At a meeting with the government of Japan, Mefilas offers an arrangement in which he would hand humanity the Beta Box and enable them to reach a massive invincible state so they could defend against other dangerous aliens such as Zarab. As part of the deal, he requests that humanity recognize him as the next king, promising that it will not disrupt their rules or everyday activities. In a park, Mefilas visits Kaminaga in an effort to convince him to go along with his deal with humanity. Kaminaga questions Mefilas' true goals, and the extraterrestrial confesses that he plans to exploit the Earth's inhabitants as bioweapons via the Beta Box. He also confesses to orchestrating all previous attacks made by Kaiju, along with the latest invasion of Zarab, to guarantee the plan's success. The first 4 Kaiju were bioweapons that were dormant on Earth, which were activated by him and considered as the result of human progress before releasing his own superior bioweapons, Nuranga, Gabora, and Pagus. This drew Ultraman to the planet, and his fusion with Kaminaga revealed the fact that Beta Box's tech was human-compatible. He made use of Zarab to instill terror in the people about the danger of aliens, as well as his own exhibition of the Beta Box in order to force humans to think that they were less intelligent and weak, all to guarantee his strategy's success. Mefilas warns Ultraman that he is not allowed to interfere with the humans' agreement with him in accordance with the rules that control their people. Kaminaga answers that even if Ultraman is forbidden to meddle, the person with whom he has bonded needs to take matters into his own hands. Mefilas shows his displeasure that they were unable to agree and exits. In a meeting with the SSSP, Kaminaga expresses regret for getting them involved in the issue, but requests their assistance in foiling Mefilas' scheme. He claims that their only alternative is to retrieve the Beta Box before Mefilas gives it up to the government of Japan. But it is now held in the Plank Brain realm, making it hard to locate by sight. Fortunately, Kaminaga believes that by tracing the fragrance of Asami, who encountered the Beta Box, he could locate it. Ultraman's hand abruptly reaches through the Plank Brain and seizes the Beta Box during the official ceremony where Mefilas is supposed to hand it off. Mefilas transforms into his actual form and swells to gargantuan proportions. Ultraman tosses the Beta Box onto a chopper operated by the SSSP, who carry it away. Mefilas approaches Ultraman at a refinery nearby, and the 2 otherworldly beings exchange attacks. However, during the struggle, Mefilas notices a gold-colored creature belonging to Ultraman's species floating in the back, and quickly stops his attack. He says that things have gotten complicated and that eliminating Ultraman from this world is no longer worthwhile. He agrees to go with the Beta Box and vanishes from the planet. Kaminaga appears in the wilderness where Ultraman made his initial landing on Earth, in front of the original Kaminaga's preserved remains. The gold extraterrestrial comes near Kaminaga and calls him by his true name, Lepia, later choosing to use the human's title, Ultraman. He announces himself as Zoffy, a delegate from the planet of light assigned to act as the adjudicator of Earth after Ultraman's deeds. He claims that Ultraman violated many of their planet's rules. Ultraman says that shortly after he landed on Earth, he killed Kaminaga in an accident as he was attempting to save a kid. He wanted to comprehend Kaminaga, so he combined their life forces into one and found out what it meant to be human. According to Zoffy, Ultraman has revealed the possibility of humanity being used as a bioweapon throughout the universe, forcing the extinction of the species. He explains that he obtained the ultimate weapon for celestial suppression, Zeton, to destroy the Earth and its whole solar system. Ultraman asks Zoffy about saving the humans, but he responds that with billions of sentient species in the multiverse, eliminating one is the best option for the rest. Zoffy sends Zeton into Earth's orbit to assemble its firing mechanism, despite Ultraman's protests that humanity is worth defending. Kaminaga tells the other members of the SSSP about Zeton's mission as it starts to show up in the sky. Before changing into Ultraman and taking off into space, he declares that he will attempt to destroy it. Ultraman attacks Zeton with his Ultra Slices and Spacium Beam, but there's little impact. Zeton responds with a variety of defensive lasers, pushing Ultraman back towards Earth's atmosphere. As Ultraman falls towards the water, Zoffy comes and tells him to cease fighting and allow humanity to get purged. Kaminaga recovers in the hospital and races to the SSSP headquarters as Zeton finishes assembling and lowers itself into its last firing position. He discovers that Taki and other intellectuals have devised a method to overthrow Zeton. Ultraman could save humanity by sacrificing himself as he opens a wormhole and sucks in Zeton. Ultraman believes that sacrificing himself is a modest price to pay, and does so. Zoffy discovers Ultraman in the parallel dimension and senses his tremendous resolve to live. Zoffy is moved by humanity's courage, wisdom, and tenacity, and agrees to spare him. Despite Ultraman's plea to return to Earth and live among people, Zoffy insists on bringing him back to the planet of light to be punished for his code breaches. Ultraman then asks to offer up his own life energy in order to assure Kaminaga can survive. Zoffy agrees to Ultraman's request and uses his beta capsule to split Ultraman's body from Kaminaga's, imbuing the human with Ultraman's life essence. Kaminaga awakens on Earth and finds himself flanked by the other SSSP members. Ultras Unleashed, the powerhouses of Shin Ultraman. Well, let us meet the only other Ultra that makes an appearance in the movie. Yep, it is none other than Zoffy. Following Lepia's multiple transgressions of the Planet of Light code, Zoffy is designated by the Planet of Light as the second observer of the planet Earth. Zoffy initially appears to see the combat involving Mefilas and Ultraman. This version of Zoffy appears more morally ambiguous regarding the death of one sentient life among many as inconsequential, and is not beyond eradicating a whole species in order to make sure they do not become a danger in the future. Regardless of this, he has a kind heart and is prepared to abandon his plot to wipe out Earth in order to listen to Ultraman explain why humankind is worthy of defending, in spite of the fact that they were duped by Mefilas and why he decided to combine with the human Kaminaga initially. The powers and abilities of Ultraman. What are the abilities and powers that make Ultraman such an iconic character? Let us find out. Starting with his Ultraman physiology, his bodily composition is completely unlike that of an earthly being, and he stands 40 meters tall. His ability to sustain himself with solar energy allows him to live in space without the need for food, water, or oxygen. In fact, he is sensitive to Earth's surroundings, considering he is inherently suited to live in space. He has superhuman strength, capable of lifting thousands of tons. His physique is also extremely dense, giving him great durability and immunity to many types of attacks, even nuclear explosions. His other powers include Spacium Ray, which is his signature move, Ultra Slash, Electrical Immunity, Ultra Attack Beam, High Spin, in which he can defend himself against temporal or spatial strikes, or injure enemies by rotating swiftly in an upright stance, Ultra Psychokinesis, Flight, Teleportation, Energy Shield, Ultra Current, Clairvoyance Beam, Slash Beam, Catch Rings, where he spins rapidly to create yellow rings to trap his foes, Beta Capsule Transformation, and he can even change his size and shape. Kaiju Confrontation, the Titans of Shin Ultraman. Now it's time to take a look at the villains of the movie and the threats faced by humanity, the Kaiju. A few Kaiju made appearances in the movie, each one more terrifying than the last. So let us take a dive into what makes them the Titans of Shin Ultraman. Gomez. First up, we have Gomez, the first creature to appear in the movie, bursting out of a mine and tearing over the surrounding mountains. Following that, Gomez and the JSDF engaged in combat, but a group of tanks unloaded their weaponry on him, killing him. Mammoth Flower. The second giant unknown life form to come in Japan was a Jurin known as the Mammoth Flower. The Mammoth Flower erupted in central Tokyo, sprouting from the earth and flowering in the area surrounding Tokyo Station. The JSDF eventually destroyed the plant after causing it to wilt with a mixture of carbon dioxide gas and fire. Piguila. Piguila, one of Japan's main S-class species, appeared in the suburbs of a metropolis which was iced up due to its powers. It is eventually slain by the Japanese army when a scientist discovers its weakness. Lurugius. Lurugius debuted as one of the many S-class species that began to emerge throughout Japan and was observed flying around the grounds of Kumamoto Castle, smashing buildings and spewing rubble into the air with every flap of its wings. Notably, Lurugius escaped before encountering any type of opposition and therefore managed to avoid notice. Kaiju. Kaiju is one of several S-class species that emerged in a widespread outbreak in Japan. After the SSSP was established as a special section of the JSDF, Kaiju was the first monster the group had to contend with. It is designated as Hostile Giant Unknown Lifeform Number 5, dissolving S-class species. Pagus. Designated as Hostile Giant Unknown Lifeform Number 6, Predatory Radioactive Material S-Class Species, Pagus was just one of several monsters that emerged from the underground to cause havoc in Japan. The creature began devouring nuclear-contaminated containers before being slain by the Japanese troops, causing its corpse to calcify and collapse. However, the radioactivity left by its body made the cleanup extremely tough. Naranga. After the founding of SSSP and the death of Pagus, Naranga arrived in a metropolitan area and began to collect electricity from a local power station via its power to become invisible. In an attempt to cut off the electricity that Naranga was consuming, the JSDF troops and the SSSP decided to switch off the station's power. However, this only served to enrage the creature, who then destroyed the entire facility once it was exposed. Then they tried to fire rockets at Naranga, but the beast utilized its energy to destroy the missiles before they could reach their intended target. With the SSSP and army outnumbered, things began to look bleak until Ultraman arrived and took out the monster. Gabora. A while after Ultraman vanquished Naranga, Gabora made an appearance in Kamikita City's Momoyama district. It went after a nuclear waste management plant in an attempt to absorb the radioactive chemicals there, just as Pagus had done before. The SSSP authorized the dropping of MOP-2s from US planes, but they ran out of ammo before getting Gabora out of the ground. The SSSP appeared to be out of luck as Gabora approached its target, and they were tempted to destroy it immediately when it appeared on the ground, even though doing so would have resulted in nuclear contamination. Shinji Kaminaga, hearing about their predicament, turned into Ultraman and defeated the beast. Alien Zarab. Zarab was the second alien that humanity encountered, following Ultraman. The first appearance was in the SSSP's base, where an electromagnetic pulse knocked out the power and damaged the data on their computers. He was defeated by Ultraman after he exposed the alien's true nature to the world. Zarab could freely manipulate electronic data, turn invisible, emit electromagnetic waves from his hands, scan a target, shapeshift into different forms, and do anti-gravity flight. Alien Mefilas. Mefilas appears to be the third alien to emerge on planet Earth, following Zarab and Ultraman. He claims, however, that he was the very first alien on Earth. He had been monitoring Earth for some time now, directing every activity related to Kaiju that had taken place so far. His beta box, a less sophisticated form of the beta capsule utilized by the inhabitants of the Planet of Light, was how he initially revealed himself. He would use its power to enlarge the hypnotized SSSP member Hiriko Asami. He permitted people to experiment on her, but they found nothing useful due to Asami's invulnerability, which the beta system granted her. What is the future of the Shin Ultraman universe? The question on everyone's mind at the end of the Shin Ultraman movie was, what's next? What is going to happen to Ultraman? Well, the answer to that question lies in Shinji's ability to transform into Ultraman, even though he had sacrificed himself for Shinji at the end of the movie. The working theory is that since the life force of Ultraman was transferred to the body of Shinji by Zoffy, he has the essential DNA and special energy that is needed to transform into Ultraman. But there is a slight wrinkle in the plan, as Zoffy still has control of the beta capsule that was used to do the transfer of energies. Also, Taki would require more time to reverse engineer the device that allowed the Ultraman transformation. Even though we are excited at the prospect of the Shin Ultraman sequel, which could have a brand new Ultraman who would protect Earth from threats, which was hinted at in the movie, there is another direction for the Shin Ultraman which involves a connection to the upcoming Netflix Ultraman project. The son of Ultraman inherits the DNA and special energy, and the Shin Ultraman movie could act as a prologue to the upcoming project. Whatever the future may hold, there's no doubt in the fact that Ultraman is a character that is beloved by many across the world. Marvelous verdict. And that marks the end of another marvelous video. It's been fun taking a look at the powerful Ultraman and his adventures. As our thrilling adventure through the world of Ultraman draws to a close, we hope you've enjoyed the thrill of witnessing the glory of this iconic character. So stay tuned for more electrifying adventures in the captivating world of Ultraman. What about Ultraman do you love the most? Was there anything specific about his adventures that captured your curiosity? Let us know all about it in the comments down below. And if you liked this video, do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. It means the world to us when you help us grow. Until next time, guys, it is farewell Ultraman. Have a good one.